For 300,000 years, another species of human walked the earth. They had brains larger than ours. They buried their dead. They made jewelry from eagle talons. They used medicinal plants to treat their wounds. And then, roughly 40,000 years ago, they vanished. We call them Neanderthals. And the fact that you think that word means stupid is one of the greatest slanders in the history of science. In 1908, a French paleontologist named Marcellin reconstructed a Neanderthal skeleton and presented it to the world as a slouching, dim-witted brute. What he failed to mention was that his specimen was an elderly individual crippled by severe arthritis. He built the stereotype of a century on a sick old man. And it stuck. Here is what we actually know. Neanderthals crafted sophisticated stone tools using a technique called levallois flaking, a method that requires visualizing the finished product before you start cutting. They made compound weapons by gluing stone points to wooden shafts using birch tar, which they produced by heating bark to precise temperatures. They controlled fire not just for warmth but for manufacturing. They hunted woolly mammoths, rhinoceroses, and bison, not by throwing spears from a safe distance like our ancestors learned to do, but by getting close enough to stab. The pattern of injuries on Neanderthal skeletons matches modern rodeo riders. These were people who wrestled their food to death. They made art. In Spain, cave paintings dated to over 65,000 years ago, 20,000 years before our species even arrived in Europe, appear to be Neanderthal work. This dating is still debated. But what is not debated is that they collected eagle feathers, painted shells with pigment, and carved geometric patterns into stone. They wore jewelry. They had aesthetics. They buried their dead. At La Chapelle aux Saints in France, at Shanidar Cave in Iraq, at Kabra in Israel, Neanderthal bodies were placed in deliberately dug graves. At Shanidar, recent excavations have found what appears to be a body carefully positioned in a prepared depression, not tossed aside. Not discarded. Mourned. They had language. They carried the same version of the FOXP2 gene that enables speech in modern humans. Their ear bones were tuned to the same frequencies as human conversation. Their hyoid bone, the delicate structure that supports the tongue and larynx, was functionally identical to ours. They talked. And they used medicine. Dental analysis of a Neanderthal from Spain found traces of chamomile, yarrow, and poplar bark, a natural source of the same compound found in aspirin. This individual had a dental abscess. He was self-medicating. In 2022, Svante Pääbo won the Nobel Prize for sequencing the Neanderthal genome. What he found changed everything. Modern humans outside of Africa carry roughly 2% Neanderthal DNA. They did not simply disappear. They are inside us. Some of their genes help our immune systems fight infection. Others affect our skin, our hair, our sensitivity to pain. One Neanderthal gene variant was identified as a major risk factor for severe COVID-19. Another variant was found to protect against it. But here is the question nobody is comfortable asking. What if they were still here? Not as fragments of DNA. Not as museum exhibits. As living, breathing people sharing the planet with 7 billion Homo sapiens. For most of human prehistory, this was normal. 40,000 years ago, at least 5 different species of human were alive simultaneously: Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo floresiensis on the island of Flores, Homo luzonensis in the Philippines. The world we live in now, one human species, alone, is the anomaly. Not the rule. If Neanderthals survived, every assumption we have about what it means to be human collapses. Are they people? Do they have rights? Can they own property, vote, marry across species lines? Our entire legal and philosophical framework is built on the idea that there is one kind of human. There has never been a situation where 2 intelligent species had to share a civilization. Would we have treated them as equals? Look at how our own species has treated people who look slightly different. Different skin color. Different language. different religion. Now imagine the difference is not cultural but biological. A different species of human, standing in front of you, with a brain as large as yours but a face you have been taught to call primitive. We already know the answer. And it is not a comfortable one. The greatest irony in all of human evolution is that the word Neanderthal became an insult, a synonym for stupid, backward, uncivilized, applied to a species that survived ice ages for 300,000 years, made art before we did, talked, mourned their dead, and healed their sick. They outlasted every challenge the planet threw at them. Except us. 2% of your DNA belongs to them. They are not gone. They are right here. In your bones, your immune system, your ability to feel pain. The ghosts of a people we never learned to share the world with. What does it say about us, that we are the species that survived?